Hello, I'm back for an updated amp guide. This is not just going to be about Eidolons, but mostly about Eidolons. I'm also going to go into the best amps for regular gameplay as well. Same as the best Arcanes to use for in-game and Eidolons. So I'm going to cover beginner amps, so where do you start, and then mid-game, and then all the way up to end-game. So, hope it's useful. If it is, drop a like, sub, comment, whatever, support the channel, and yeah, I'll catch you in the next video. So let's start with how you unlock amps. So I'm here with Konzu. You want to go up over here, and this door right back here. You need to complete the Sayer's Vigil quest first, and then go up to this door, and use your operator, and obviously you unlock the amp area. So this is Onko, and this is the guy that sells the amps. Okay, so this is the stuff about amps in this game. The status on amps is terrible. Void status on an amp is terrible, so we're never ever going to build these status related amps unless it's for mastery rank XP, which is something I'm honestly not going to bother covering. However, this is not a you must follow guide, it's advice. So build whatever you want, use whatever you want, you know, it's a free game, do whatever you like, but I don't recommend it. So yeah. Okay, so the first amp we're going to build is a 111, so which is a Raplak, a Pincher, and a Clapcrack. Now, these are the only parts you have access to when you're like rank 1 with Onko, but this will help you take down a Terrorist, maybe even a Ganchulist, and the reason I say that is because that's how you get standing quickly with Onko. Just take down Terrorists and eventually you'll rank up. 38% crit chance, not bad. I'll pair this with Virtuous Shadow, which is this Arcane down here. Now, I do give these out because I have honestly so many of them. I don't really care. But this is a crit chance Arcane. None of these other Arcanes are good, I'm going to be honest with you. Magus Elevate is pretty good, but at the moment there's such a big cooldown on transference that it's kind of useless, but I still use it anyway. This is pretty useless, honestly. It's just a worse Elevate. Ghost. Status chance, terrible. Strike, terrible. Cloud, terrible. You know, these are all pretty useless, to be honest. When you're very early game, I recommend you run this Arcane and this Arcane together for survivability. When you're taking down like your first few Terrorists, pair these two together and you won't die. Not on this update, because you have so much health and shield now. You're pretty much invincible, so yeah, that's for early game. Now, as you start moving into mid game, you're going to make a Raplak, a Shraxon, and a Lauren Brace. Now, the reason for these pieces, Lauren gives us bonus crit chance. It's an increase from this thing, as you can see. Pretty big increase. We use Shraxon because this is an interesting piece. You can shoot this through the Eidolons hitbox and hit the hitbox multiple times. So if you stand underneath and shoot up, the disc thing you shoot is gonna hit the Eidolon like 3 or 4 times, which gives you a lot of damage. And this thing hits pretty hard as well. So yeah, that's why we use this. It's like a mini Proper. It's like a mid-game Proper. I recommend this. Once you get used to using it, it's actually pretty good. And then Raplak again for good crit chance, decent crit multiplier. So this is our last amp from Onko we're going to make. Stick with this for a while until you get Little Duck standing. Again, pair this with Virtuous Shadow if you're mid-game. Virtuous Shadow if you're mid-game. As you might notice, the trend, crit chance is really important on amps. Now, as we start getting into the later game, we're going to make Raplak, Proper, Certus. Now you can bypass Little Duck, or the rank 5 with Fortuna thing, but I won't talk about that here. And as you can see, 58% crit chance, again, it's an increase from this. Proper is a nuke, it does so much damage, and that's why it's so useful. You know, like, this thing can one-shot like level 8000 enemies on Void Cascade, it can one-shot Eidolon shields, it's like the bread and butter of amps. It's the best thing ever. It does have a big fall off though, so you have to get used to it, and it has a like detonation time in the air, so you really do have to get used to using it properly. But you can go on Eidolon.com and practice your timing for Eidolons. So yeah, this is an amazing amp. Now, because this is a mid-game amp slash late-game amp, you can either pair it with Virtual Shadow, like we used to back in the old days, or you can now pair it with the best Arcane ever, and that is Eternal Onslaught. So this one right here, Eternal Onslaught. And why this one? Well, this gives you over 100% crit chance on your Proper, which is ridiculous. Like, this thing can hit for 11 million. And if you have the second Arcane adapter, which is like the late game thing, run Eternal Eradicate with it as well, and you will do so much damage, it's unbelievable. Like, genuinely ridiculous. You can one-shot shields without Void Strike, even without Wisp. So yeah, it's crazy. So that's your late game, and then your final late game amp would be the 777, which is Clamora, Proper, and Certus. Again, so the reason we run Certus, that has the highest crit chance of any brace, and obviously, as I've said, crit chance is important. Proper, again, this is a nuke, and then Clamora is a beam, so this is really good for pretty much everything, like daily missions and stuff like that. It's also the DPS amp for Eidolons in a duo hunt, because you can shoot through the Eidolon and kill the Vomalist inside of it. It's more of a multi-target amp than the Raplak is, so this does damage per second rather than damage per shot, which is really good for like missions and, you know, the daily stuff. So I usually run this as my amp when I'm doing stuff other than like VS related things. So yep, that's the amp. So I'll go over the Arcanes again. Alright, so as early game, as a beginner, you want to run this Arcane here for the health, and this Arcane here for the armor. This will make you very, very tanky early game, so that you can take down Terrorists without dying like every 2 seconds, and you'll easily get that Onco standing with this. Now, once you get past this point, I recommend you run Magus Elevate and Magus Repair. I run these two purely just because I played DPS, but you can run Repair as VS and something else. I mean, Lockdown, Melt. I don't really know what people run nowadays, to be honest. I know they run Repair, but yeah. So these are the useful Arcanes: Repair, Melt, and these two. Pretty much that's it. Elevate's a bit rubbish now because of the transference cooldown, but yeah. Now for Amp Arcanes, early game, Virtual Shadow. Like, you can ask people to give you these because people have a lot of them. I know I do. I will give them out for free if people want them. And now as you push past mid game, Eternal Onslaught and Eternal Eradicate, these two are like amazing. If you only have one Arcane slot, run the crit chance. If you have two, run the damage as well. Do not run Strike, it's terrible. Okay, and that's it for the Arcanes. Okay, so I'm here on the plains, and I wanted to add something extra, and that's how we use the 177 for Eidolons properly. So, we're mainly using the Proper, however I'm going to show you, imagine it being a solo situation, or a duo situation, how to use 177 properly. So, first of all, you got your frame, and you want to place a shield, and then go into your operator. Now, place a waypoint on your frame, and walk away from it till it says 2 meters. There you go. And now you want to shoot Proper, Raplak. Now, that right there is enough damage to break the shield if you have Majuri on. So you will use Majuri's 2, which is the caustic wave thingy, and that gives you bonus damage on targets hit by it. And then you will have Power Spike, which is when you transfer you do more damage. And then you will just obviously shoot. So 1, 2, 3. That's Proper Raplak. So that's one of the techniques. Or the other one you can use is Proper Raplak. So imagine that obviously Eidolons are here. You got Proper Raplak. And those two detonate at the same time. Like, this is obviously stuff you have to get used to. But I did it so much back in the day that I can still do it now. So Proper Raplack, and they detonate at the same time. I don't think, if you don't have Wisp, that's not enough damage without Void Strike, but that's why we use proper Raplack. So put a waypoint on your frame. This works with any frame, by the way, just waypoint the chest. Back up till it says 2, 1, 2, 3, and they detonate at the same time. The reason we detonate at the same time is because in Eidolons we're aiming to shoot as soon as the shield comes back up. It's just we need to destroy it, so we time it so that these propers will detonate all together as the shield comes down again. So 1, 2, 3. You can practice your timing on Eidolon.com. There's the game section and proper. There's also a Raplack section, but we don't use that anymore. So yeah, that's how you use 177. Now, how to use the arcanes properly. So there's a few different ways you can do it. So you can spam 2. I need to switch to Majuri, so 1 second. Okay, we are back, and I have Kuvazar this time. So, hello. So now with the Eternal Onslaught, this is how you use it. There's 2 different ways. So with Majuri, you can spam 2 and then sling twice. And as you can see, it procs the buff, and as it regens, you get 8 seconds. So I'll prove that this works. I'll go over to this thing. So 1, 2, 3, sling, and I have 8 seconds, and I orange crit. Crazy. And that's pretty much it. That's how you use the new arcanes and the amps. I hope it's useful. If you liked it, like the video, sub, whatever. You can ask me questions in DM or in the comments, and yeah, catch you later.